I'm here today with Ellen, and Ellen has been doing really well inside our Total Life Fitness program. And today she's going to share a little bit about her experience. So, Ellen, start with telling us a little bit more about what you were struggling with prior to joining our program.
Well, I just didn't like the way that I looked. I didn't like the way that I felt. Um, I'm, I'm getting older and I have a history of being a fairly, at least when I was younger, pretty slender person and pretty fit. And when I hit my 60s, I still thought of myself that way, but I didn't look that way and I didn't feel that way. And I had joined a couple of weight loss programs prior to this and, you know, lost 2 pounds or something. And a friend of mine had been on Total Life Fitness and lost significant weight, like 50 pounds, and she kept it off. That was that was a real motivation, and this was a very different approach than anything I had tried before.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing that. So, you know, tell us a little bit more. Like, obviously, you had a friend who did it. So, do you have any hesitations around joining, and why did you ultimately decide to join?
Well, yeah, I did have hesitations about joining. It's a significant investment in money and time, and we all have to make choices with our resources, and we're retired, so our resources are finite. But for me, it became an investment in my health. And I felt like, there's a lot of things I can choose to spend money on, and my health is a good thing to spend money on. And I was ready. I knew I needed an integrated approach. I didn't want something that was just food oriented. I wanted the accountability. I wanted the exercise or the weight and resistance training. Um, so I pulled the trigger.
Yeah, for sure. And you've been doing really well. And now that we're a few months here later, you've been doing really well. So let's talk through what have been your biggest wins so far since joining the program.
Well, I'm going to be really frank. So I'm going to be 68 years old this month. That's not young. I don't feel old, but anybody listening is going to think, yeah, that's pretty old. And I was concerned about whether I could pull off. It's different when you get older and you're a woman, postmenopausal woman trying to lose weight. But I have lost weight. Over the course of 12 months, I've lost about 28 pounds, um, about 3.5 inches on my waist, 4 inches on my hips, 2 inches on my chest, and 3 inches on my thighs. I look different and I feel different. I feel good. Um, those are my biggest wins.
Awesome. And you mentioned like you feel like this approach is different. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about, for someone maybe on the fence or thinking about joining, like, how do you feel like our approach has been different and why do you recommend Total Life Fitness?
I think the approach where you're not just focusing on calories, you're focusing on calories and protein. And if the emphasis and understanding that I now have of protein, it's kind of a hot topic if you follow health news. But that was all new for me, um, to to think about that relationship. So I pay a lot more attention to protein now. I mean, I certainly pay attention to the calories, but so that was different, I think, than any of the other approaches I had taken to weight loss and health. Um, the other thing was the integration of strength training. Um, and I chose to join a gym because it's easier for me to work out at a gym than it is in my own home, and I have access to weights, and I didn't want to invest in weights. But I invested in some bands, and um, I make sure that I get over there 3 times a week. Are there weeks that I don't? Sure. I mean, there's been some travel. Um, sometimes but by and large, I just passed my 100th workout this week. 100 workouts since last February. Um, and these are doable workouts. I'm not, so far, I'm not really encountering anything that I find terribly stressful. There are some hard things that I that I do. But those and the interface that you have with a coach every week, um, yeah, has been the accountability and the interface with a coach has been very helpful.
I'm so happy to hear about all the positive changes that you've made, Ellen, and thanks so much for your time.